Now, the one thing I wish I did a lot better or paid attention to when I first started out was tracking everything correctly. And it's not one of those things that is talked a lot about in this industry. Most people just talk about doing the outreach, doing the work, jumping on the sales calls, converting clients, getting them on board, retaining them for a long time. But there's a lot of misunderstanding there. You really need to know your numbers to be able to come to a certain point. Because let's say there's a certain method that took you to 6K, 7K, 8K a month to be able to get to 20, 30K a month. Yes, it's easier said than done to be able to just double it or triple it. However, if you know your exact numbers and if you know the exact inputs, it makes it a lot easier, right? The biggest and the best analogy I can give you guys is the gym, right? So, and I'm assuming most of the people watching this video, either you go to the gym, I hope you do. I mean, if you don't, go to the gym, and if you haven't, just go to one and you'll understand what I'm saying, right? It's like working out, like on a specific workout, like for example, the bench press, and then doing a certain kg. Let's say you're doing 80 kg. I don't know how much that is in pounds, but let's say you're doing 80 kgs and you just keep doing 80 kgs, right? If you don't know how much you're benching, if you don't know what your bench is at and how many reps you're able to do with 80 kgs, you don't know if you're going to improve and you don't know how to get better, right? So you need to have your numbers and you need to understand it, because then every single time you go to the gym, you're like, oh, how much should I do on bench today? And you kind of restart and you never see improvement, right? It's the same thing with business. So this tracking sheet is attached under this video. Very simple. I use this mainly because our main acquisition is paid advertisement. It is ads, but you guys can use this for pretty much anything. I mean, you can use it for SMS. You can use it for cold calls if you have a team, whatever it is. Usually, if you're just doing cold calls yourself, this probably won't be the best thing, but you can still figure out a way to make it so that it makes sense for cold calling as well. Now, without further ado, this is how it works. So the all far left tab is the week start, obviously, as you guys can see that, and then it's the week end, and then it's the month, right? So this goes week by week. Now, simply what you want to do is once you have this, you want to obviously create a copy. For the whole week, you want to put in the amount of leads generated. So let's say this is for paid ads, right? Let's say the whole week I got 20 leads, right? Now I want to put in how many of those leads actually booked an appointment. All right. So out of 20 leads that came in, I got 12 appointments, right? Well, how many showed up? Okay. Well, okay. So in this period, seven showed up. Okay. How many deals did you close? All right. I closed two deals out of this, right? How much did you close those deals for? What was your total revenue? Okay, this is the one you want to put in. So every single thing here on this side of stuff, all the way until other expenses, you put in and log in yourself. All right, so you put in here, okay, so I closed those two deals, 2,400, right? 1,200 each, right? Ad spend, how much did you spend on initial ads? Let's say you spent 400 bucks, right? Let's say you spent 400 bucks. That's what you made. Other acquisition costs, you have a team, do you pay for Calendly, GHL, miscellaneous, whatever it is. Let's say that's another 90 bucks that you paid that week. Do you have any operating expenses, whatever it may be? Do you have any other expenses that you should put in care of? Whatever it may be, you can put it in here for the whole week and it adds it up, right? That's the goal here. Now, what you can see week by week is that it shows you the acquisition spend, right? So how much it cost on the acquisition side, right? So you paid 490, right? Total expenses, including the other expenses and operating expenses, is 520. The profit you made is 1880, right? That's good numbers in a week. Then you can see here, all right? So leads generated, booked appointments, and then booked appointments to show ups. You had a show up rate of 58%. You had a closing rate of 29%. Your cost per acquisition, the amount you spent to get one client, was 245, just because 520 divided by 2 is 245. And then you can see here, no, sorry, 245, 490 divided by 2, 245. Your cost per show up is 70 bucks, which is good, right? The ideal you want to be at is around 70 to 100 cost per show up. And 90 is pretty, 70 is pretty good, right? Now, the second thing that you want to do here, which is super simple, is just put in the total amount of booked appointments, which you want to do just another time, just because it doesn't auto populate into there. You put in 12 here, you can see the amount you're paying per booked appointment, which is 33, which could be better, but it's not bad, right? It's not bad. It could be better, but it's good, right? And that's pretty much it. And then here you can put in notes, right? Like, for example, testing SMS script V2 or testing this or testing that. This is super simple and super straightforward to do. It's not very hard doing this. You just literally do it week by week. And then after a month or after 2 weeks, you can sit down and you can do the numbers on this, right? I would advise you can probably just send this to ChatGPT. So as soon as you have the data, you send it to ChatGPT and you tell him about what you're doing, what your business is, and him to just kind of give you a rundown of the data and what he initially thinks that you should do next. And it's just super easy and super simple, right? Other than that, what I've had in here is the cash and MRR tab. Let me make myself smaller here again. This is where you put in your initial starting bank balance. So let's say in your bank you have $1,000. That's what you want to put in here. That's pretty much what you start with, and then you want to put your starting MRR. Let's say you're starting on zero, like which most of you probably are. But if you're starting on a little bit more, you can probably put in like $500, and it adds it up. But let's say you're starting on zero. This is what would happen. It would auto populate in here, right? So you want to put this in. Everything that is yellow, you want to put in yourself. So you want to put in the new MRR, and then the churn MRR. And this way you can actually see by the end of the month how much actually MRR you have, like monthly recurring revenue. This again, it says it'll be here, but this again is a little bit more relevant towards paid acquisition, and then I'm talking about paid ads, and I'm also talking about SMS. Cold calling is very much like time based, other than operating expenses and stuff like that, where you pay for software. But other than that, it is very much just time consuming unless you have a setter team. So I have a setter team, and for those guys, it makes more sense for me to just track it in, just because they're the ones spending the time. I'm the one spending the money, if that makes sense, because I'm paying them, right? So that makes a lot more sense for me to track that. README tab here, super, super simple. This is for if I didn't do a good enough job explaining the initial tabs and what everything is. This is exactly what you would need to know to have a tally over everything. And then you can pretty much see here what everything is, right? So cost per acquisition, calculated as acquisition spend, deal close, cost per show up rate, cost per acquisition. If you guys want to add stuff in here that I didn't add in or that you guys would think would be beneficial, definitely do so. You guys can click on, once you open this link, you guys just click on file, make a copy, and then you guys can make it your own. And then this is the monthly summary. So it monthly summarizes everything. So by the end of the month, let's say I'm just going to put in some random numbers here, right? Just so that you guys can get a little bit of an understanding. Let's say boom. Oh, that doesn't make sense. Let's say this. Let's say this. Let's say this. Let's say this. Boom, 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 boom. Let's just do this, okay? I'm just doing this for number's sake. Now, what's going to happen in the monthly summaries, you're going to see this, okay? So total revenue was 4,800. Your ad spend was 1,200. Other acquisition costs, total acquisition spend was a little bit under 1,500. You have zero anything else. The total expenses or other expenses in 90. Total expenses at 1,560. Your profit is 3,240. Right, that is your profit because revenue minus total expenses. Profit. This is what goes to your bank. And then you can pretty much see here as well, the total show price was 31%. Need to work on it. Closing rate is good. Can do better. Cost per acquisition is 367. Ideally, you want to be around 300 to 400 with ads. And then with SMS, usually it typically around the same, but you want to go max, nothing higher than like 600, depending on how much it costs you to get that appointment as well. Cost per show up here was bad. Like it should be around like 70 or something. And then here you can put in the total appointments booked, which was 41. And you can see here, it will auto-populate the cost per booked appointment for you as well. So I'm going to do that. That way it adds it up here with you. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so I was supposed to do it this way. R2 and H2. This two, there you go. So your cost per booked appointment is going to be $38, right? Which is very good. So yeah, this is very, very important. And I wish I did this from when I started out and when I pretty much just started this journey, because it would have made everything so much more clear for me. I was rather spending a lot of time just trying to figure things out, trying to see, okay, this working, and just grinding things out. Yes, grind is worth it. And yes, grind does work. However, if you don't have clarity, there's literally no point. Like clarity is worth a lot more than just putting hours in and putting hours in. Because honestly, if you're putting hours into the thing that is not working and the thing that is not moving the needle, well, there's no point, right? I would much rather have anybody and have myself when I first started out put a lot more hours into what is actually moving the business and actually creating revenue rather than just doing shit that doesn't matter. Because a lot of times we'll spend 12-hour days, just like Alex Hormozy and all the big guys do recommend, but just spend it on bullshit. Again, looping back to gym analogy, go to the gym. Let's say you're there for 3 hours, not doing BS, right? Would you not rather just go for 45 minutes and hit a really, really good chest workout or hit a really, really good back workout? Yes, you would, because you're spending less time. You're getting more out of it. That's exactly the mindset that you want to have in business as well. And this is the one way that I do it right now. And I really, really advise everybody to do it. Make sure that you know your numbers, make sure that you track, and everything will be good. And that way you can track back and know exactly what you need to do next steps. All right. Remember, you guys owe it to yourself to be great. You guys are able to do this. The people that are up there and the people that make it, they breathe the same air, they eat the same food. Maybe they have a better medium rare cooked steak in the night by a chef, but other than that, it's the exact same thing. They've been through the same struggles that you are going through right now, the ones that I went through and the ones that I'm still going through. They've had the same doubts. They've been in the bed every single night thinking, is this shit going to work? Only thing that you can do is keep doing those inputs and keep having clarity on what you're doing. This is one of the biggest needle movers to be able to do so. Very, very worth it doing this end of every single week. And yeah, wish you guys the best. Make sure you guys do this. Download it, copy it. If you guys have any questions or need any help, leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to respond to them. Other than that, wish you guys the best. Peace out.